Hi, how are you? Hope you're all right. Now, do you know something? We are in the last week of January. It's a Monday. This time last year, it was -3 degrees Celsius. Today, we're at +8. So I know that there's an unusual weather pattern going across the whole of Europe at the minute. And as you know, we're in southern Hungary. But it's warm. And it gives me a little bit of a concern, because if we have too warm a winter, it doesn't give the garden a chance to have all its bugs killed off or any pests. Now, we were lucky last year because we didn't have any, or very little, certainly nothing worth filming. But if it carries on being as warm as it is at the moment, things are going to start growing, and they're going to start growing quickly. So I need to be ahead of the game. That's another consideration on top of all the other things that we have as we live here on our tenure in southern Hungary. Now, if you've watched this channel in the past, and I know a lot of you have, you might be wondering, why am I doing this? Why am I talking about living in Hungary? Everything that I do here is adaptable, and it's also scalable. So when we look at the vegetable garden, for example, we can either have it on a big scale like we've got here, or a slightly smaller scale if you've got, say, an allotment size plot like you have in the UK. But the principles are all the same. Our climate is different to perhaps yours, but everything's adaptable. But I still have to make sure that I get on and consider all the other factors that I have here as we go around doing the things that we're doing. I'm being distracted because up here, I've got a few birds and they're dying to get down onto the bird feeder I've set up over there. They're important for me here as well, because they're the guys that are going to help me control my pests throughout the growing season. So I need to encourage them to stay around and feed them and look after them and stop the one-eyed cat Jack from trying to catch hold of them. Now, one of the things we're going to be looking at is how we deal with our waste. And what I found here is that we've got a lot less waste than I used to generate with Anna back in the UK. So we're going to, some of my jobs that I have to get up to during the week, once a fortnight at least, is the rubbish collection service that we have here. And a lot of guys in the UK are going to be familiar with these bins, where certainly when we were in the UK, we had, I think it was 2 of these, and then a couple of other bins for recycling. Here we've only got 1. And the interesting thing is that this one container deals with all our household waste. The way we have our rubbish dealt with here is we've got 2 things. We go to the local, I suppose you'd know it as the parish council. We call it the mayor's office here, or the village hall. But anyway, we pick up some of these green bins, these bags rather. And in that goes all our non-recycled waste. And then we have a separate bag, which is this guy here, where all our recycled materials go in. So that's everything. Cardboard, plastic if you have any. There's separate containers for glass. Be careful with this. I don't want it spilling everywhere. And so what we do, I'll probably pop that on there, make it easier. We tie this up. And what happens is once a fortnight, the guys from the local office come along and collect your bag. We don't have dust carts out where we are. In the village here they do, but here, no. So that's our recycling. And this is our general household waste. Now, that is by no means full. And the interesting thing is that that's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks supply of rubbish. A supply of rubbish. But because I'm clearing out the one of the outbuildings, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to fill this up this week. And then what we do is pop a cable tie on the top, it goes to the end of the driveway, and we then have it collected. But back in the UK, I'd have 2 of these bins, and each week it would be full one of them would be full enough to be taken away. What I find incredible is I'm beginning to understand or learn that in the UK now, if you want to get rid of your garden waste, the local councils are charging you. What is all that about? They don't do that here. In fact, any garden waste that we have, we put on the compost. So that's how we deal with our waste. It's a lot less because we're recycling a heck of a lot more here. So that's for recycling. That's the general waste. And then kitchen scraps, as we know, go straight onto our compost and gets reused. So we're actually creating a lot less waste. Let's pop that back in there. Now, something else we have to deal with waste-wise, that's water. Let's have a look at that. What do we do with that? Because we're not connected to a mains drainage system here. Let's have a look. So you're going to know, if you watch the channel regularly, that this is the wood store. So also within here is where we have our septic tank. That's the cover here for the septic tank. And basically, when it's full, a guy comes along, sucks out all the contents of this and takes it away, and we have to pay for that. Now, some houses here do have a system whereby they don't have a tank and the water drains into their ground somehow. They dig a big hole, line it with bricks, that becomes the tank, and basically what happens is it's filtered out into the surrounding area. I don't like that, obviously, but we do use a chemical that we put in. I say a chemical, it's not quite the right phrase. We do use a substance, a liquid from a company called Evergreen, I think it is. Need to check the container, but we basically put a couple of cupfuls of that once a fortnight or every 3 weeks into the water, system in the loo, and it kind of has a bacterial reaction with any waste that we produce, and it stops the tank from smelling, seems to neutralize it, so it's not as bad as it may sound. So the septic tank is based in there, and it's emptied every 3 to 4 months or so, and yeah, that's how we deal with our waste. So like I say, the green bags, the recycling goes down to the end of the driveway once a fortnight, which is this Wednesday. So I'm always mindful to make sure I've got enough to go. And the septic tank. That's how we deal with our waste. And that's for the waste from the wood burner. Well, it's ash and it goes on the compost like a lot of other things. For a lot of you, what we've just been looking at might be pretty basic to you. But for us, it's quite important here. We need to make sure that we are on top of the collection dates for the rubbish, and we have a system in place that's easy just to follow. It sounds daft, I suppose, but you know, we need to make sure that we've got our recycling separated from our general waste. And in regards to those big green bags that we've seen, we have to buy them. We're only talking a few pennies, they're not a lot of money, but what we've got to do is make sure we get as much into that rubbish as possible. We don't really want to keep it here for more than 2 weeks. So if I find a situation like today where I've got a bag that's only a quarter full, I'll fill it up with other things. I'm always collecting something that I can get rid of. In there, where we've got the building that we're looking to convert this year, that's a good case in point, because we've been collecting things over a period of time, like polystyrene, so that can all go in. I hate doing it, but I've got no choice. There's no other way of getting rid of it. Now, in other villages in the area, they have these huge wheelie bins on the side of the road, and foreigners, as they're called, in other words, people that live outside of that particular settlement or village, will come in and throw all their rubbish into those bins as well, which causes a hassle for the guys who live in the outskirts of the village to then come and try and get rid of their own waste. It becomes a bit of a problem. So we've got a good system here. Like I say, the green bags cost us very little money, like I say, pennies. So all I've got to do really is take my bags and go down there through the gate onto the track and leave them there to be collected by the local guys here, or I'll take them into the collection point and we'll get rid of them. Recycling here is pretty interesting, because I could, if I wanted to, take empty aluminium cans to a local supermarket in the town put them into a machine that I crushed. They're then weighed and I get a few pennies back for what I put in. And now they've introduced that system also for all glass containers as well. Now that I think is a pretty good thing to be doing. I know other countries do it in Europe, but I know it doesn't happen in the UK. I'd be interested to know, do you think that's a good system? Have you got that system in your country? Are you able to recycle your glass and your aluminium containers and get a few quid back for them, which is a great incentive to recycle, or not? And if you do, let me know. I'd be interested to see how it works and compare it to what happens here, like I say, in Hungary. But for now, take care, and I'll catch up with you next time.